Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Well, you guys, it is a gorgeous day here in South Florida, and I am super motivated to be working in the area that I am standing. It's our front walkway in the front of our house. And a couple of weeks ago, I put together a video where I actually took some clay pots, some old clay pots that were really showing their wear, and I put some spray paint on them and just kind of refurbished them up, and I planted them with some beautiful annuals and perennials, and they look absolutely gorgeous. They are actually directly behind me, and they are flanking this walkway. And because they looked so gorgeous, it just motivated me to kind of stay in this area and continue working and doing what I've been wanting to do for a couple of months now. And that was just to kind of revamp this area. And when I mean revamp this area, I don't mean just basically taking plants out and putting new plants in or refurbishing the actual garden bed. I'm talking about irrigation. One of the biggest things here for me, trouble, I guess should say, for me and my landscape, most of my landscape, is just making sure that I've got adequate water going to everything year round. I live here again, I'm in South Florida, I'm in Zone 10, and it gets hot. I mean really hot here. And we really need to have, adequate water going to our plants. And it's, winter, spring, summer, fall, and who am I kidding here, y'all? Our seasons are basically winter and summer here. But I really go through a really hard time with trying to make sure that most of the season that I can get water, directly to plants. And this front area, I thought I had it, together, much like on the south side. For those of you who follow my channel, you know that I have had such a horrible time with that south side of the property and getting water over there, and adequate water, I should say. But we've got in front of it, and we have just run all kinds of drip, and we've run actually sprinklers. We actually have, and we've got regular drip irrigation going on over there, but we also have the pop-up sprinkler heads, and that has just made a world of difference. So back in this front area, I thought I had adequate water going to everything with the drip that we had, but clearly I was wrong, and so we're going to double it out here. Now, I'm not going to be really doing anything by the way of, I shouldn't say that. Over to this side of me, where this pygmy date palm is at, I do have a pop-up in here. And then behind the camera, I have some arboricola that are in a straight flower bed here. And those have pop-up sprinkler heads as well. But directly in this area, right behind me, all along the side here, this is all drip irrigation. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding another layer, or another line, I guess I should say, another line of drip irrigation through this area. And I'm hoping that that is going to be enough extra. It's going to be basically doubling the irrigation that we had over here. And I'm really hoping that that's going to be enough to satisfy what I want to put in here. Now, last year at this time, what I had in here was I had salvia that were lining this walkway. They were absolutely beautiful. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pop a picture up on the screen so you guys can see what it looked like. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was just a beautiful pop of orange, bright orange salvia. And then I had different colors of impatiens all along, actually behind the fountain here, and in front of the arboricola. I had a bunch of just beautiful impatiens. Now, while the impatiens are very short-lived here, because as our temperatures soar and our humidity goes off the chain, those impatiens just don't do well for us anymore. So irregardless, I would have had to have pulled them out, come the end of spring anyway. But they were just, I was having a hard time just in our early, coming out of our winter, going into our early spring. I was having a really hard time keeping adequate water on those plants. So anyway, needless to say, the salvia, they were just, they were in more of a heavier sun in this walkway. Behind where the impatiens were, those got more of an afternoon shade, a little bit more of an afternoon shade. But in this walkway, they were getting a hefty morning and early afternoon sun, and they needed to have that water that they just weren't getting. So needless to say, I ended up having to pull those out way prematurely, because they would have went through a good part of our summer months, or pretty much the summer months, because they do really well for us here with that late afternoon, like our hot west sun here, they probably would have struggled, but they don't get that hot west sun right in this walkway. They get a morning and they get an early afternoon sun, and they would have done just fine here had they had the adequate irrigation. So I want to duplicate that beauty up here again, and I want to do it with something a little bit different. Let me walk the camera over and show you. I went on a little bit of a plant haul. My husband, he was out putting some internet service in for it was a local nursery here, and we thought that this nursery just sold poinsettias yearly. And it turns out that they opened up and they started selling a lot of just regular plants now, like house plants and succulents. You know, they sell, you know, just landscape plants. And so my husband's been wanting to take me out there. So we went out, and I fell in love, and the prices were just so incredible. I don't know how they're going to be able to keep up with that, but while they are, I'm going to be frequenting out there. But anyway, y'all, I got real excited about it. I went on a plant haul out there, and I was just super excited. So let me go ahead and take the camera over and show you the plants that I'm going to be putting in this area over here. Okay, here is my trunk load full of beautiful, beautiful plants. I bought some things that I really wasn't expecting to buy either, because they were just so beautiful out there. Let's start with these arboricola. Aren't they gorgeous? I fell in love with them, and the price was just so good that I went ahead and bought a couple of them. And even though I knew that I wanted some arboricola for another project, I thought, well, I'm just going to buy them right now. So anyway, I got 2 of these guys. Take these guys out. There's the second one. Absolutely. Look at the beautiful variegation on those leaves. Living here in South Florida, one of the things that I love about our tropical landscapes are the foliage color on, you know, the tropical plants. You know, I love my color when it comes to, you know, the annuals and perennials and stuff like that. But I got to tell you, most of my landscape, when I look around, it's all this beautiful foliage that is so colorful. The variegation with the leaves, whether they're red or purple or pink or this beautiful yellow and green. I love the foliage color. So anyway, 2 arboricola, and then I have some beautiful, beautiful color here. There's just a variety of color in this basket. I've got now, I don't have free hands, so back here with my chin, I've got just a beautiful traditional begonia, and it's like a red-orange color. And then in the front there, I've got some beautiful, beautiful periwinkle. Now that periwinkle, I'm going to bring it up really close for you guys to see. This periwinkle is like a red-pink with a white throat. Now here, these periwinkle, they do quite spectacularly here for us in South Florida, and they will take the heat and the sun. So I'm not real sure where I'm going to put those. They're not going to go in my walkway, but I'm going to be finding a place for them. And then of course in the back here, I bought several bromeliads. I hope you guys can see that it's right here. I'm going to be doing another project in our front yard under our queen palms, and I'm going to be putting in just a bunch of beautiful, beautiful, strappy, colorful foliage again, bromeliads, and I'm going to be putting them under our pygmy date palm out there. So y'all stay tuned for that video, because I'm going to be releasing that pretty soon too. But that's one box. And now for the color that's going to be going up here in the front, I have 2 boxes of this beautiful color. These are Sunpatiens. Now, Sunpatiens for me, I love impatiens. I have been growing impatiens for 30 plus years. My mother loved them in the garden, and she still does. And I think that's where I got my love for the impatiens so much. We share that mutual love of the impatiens. But when the regular impatiens, like the traditional patiens, when they started many, many years ago, and I can't remember the year, they started developing what they called a downy mildew, and it was virtually impossible to cure. So they basically took them off the market for the longest time, and periodically you'd see nurseries, you know, they would, you know, kind of bring them in, but they would, you know, I would bring them home and they would get that nasty, downy mildew on there. So I went for, you know, a number of years not really buying them, and I was going with, they came out with the new versions of like the Sunpatiens and the, you know, the shade patients, those types of things. And while they're pretty, they don't grow for me quite as oh, what's the word I'm looking for? They don't have that vim and vigor for me, and that my my regular old fashioned impatiens used to do or grow, and so these are kind of like my every year I buy them and I'm like, okay, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to make this work. And I've got a beautiful, beautiful stock of them right here. This is what's going to be going in that front walkway. And I am hoping I'm just hoping with my fingers crossed that I'm going to be able to grow these beautifully. And if I give them adequate water and fertilizer, and of course they're going to be getting the sun, like they need. And I'm going to, also till that area up a little bit with some, maybe some peat and maybe some cow manure. I have a lot of leaves that I'm going to be shredding, or I've shredded a lot actually so far, but I'm going to be mixing some ground up leaves from the oak trees that are around my property. I'm going to be mixing it all in to really make a nice fertile area to grow these. But aren't they gorgeous? I've got pinks, hot pinks, and I've got red, I've got white, and they're absolutely spectacular. I've got two big things of these, and this is what's going to go in that front walkway. So let's go ahead and go back up to the front. I've just got extra little things in there, some dirt, that type of stuff for containers. I just had a ball at this nursery. But anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and go back over to the area that I'm actually working in. Okay, so back up front in the walkway here. What I'm going to be doing is in this whole area. Now I have flax lily that are in the back of this flower bed. They're in between the spindle palms that I've got growing in this walkway. And then in front of that, I've got 4 beautiful crotons. Y'all know me, I love my crotons and I can't live without my crotons. But I've got beautiful crotons. I had debated whether or not I was going to go ahead and take them out. And I think at some point I probably will. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and just leave them in. And what I'm planning on doing is going ahead and nestling from behind me here. I'm going to be just nestling in those beautiful Sunpatiens that I showed you. And I'm going to be just putting them all in this area right here, lining this side of the walkway. But before I do that, I've definitely got to make sure that I scrape all of this mulch out of here. I'm going to just kind of, not with a tiller, I'm going to do it with just like a hand rake. I'm going to go in there and I'm just going to really till up with my hand the soil underneath there. I'm going to be adding some leaf mulch, ground up leaf mulch, probably a little bit of cow manure. I'm just going to really just kind of make this area a little bit more fertile in here, because this soil our soil here in South Florida is sand. I mean, pure sand. And so watering is one issue that I have. I don't need to exacerbate it with the sandy soil, because what happens when you water sand, it goes right through that sand and you might as well not have even watered it at all. So I'm going to be going ahead and, like I said, I'm going to be creating maybe a little bit more moisture retention in here and really kind of amping up this soil in here. So and then obviously the next thing that I'm going to be doing, and what I'll do is I'm going to try to show you guys as best as I can the drip irrigation. My husband's always done that, but I'm kind of learning from him as I go along, so that way he doesn't have to come out here and do this with me. I'm going to try to do this myself. I'm going to try to bring the camera in so you guys can see, because I got to tell you, y'all, it really isn't a difficult thing. I mean, it's a little intimidating when you first look at it, or at least it was for me. It was a little intimidating, knowing when to use a T and a straight and the coupler and, emitters. But honestly, it really isn't that difficult. Once you start learning your landscape and you start realizing, what it is that you need. My husband set me up with the scissors and the clamps and, all the little couplers and emitters and everything. And just by watching him, it's helped me to learn how to do this on my own, so that way I can do it without having to go get him every 5 minutes. So again, I'm going to try to pass that on to you guys, and I'm hoping that my instruction is going to be simple, and by having the camera there that you'll be able to see as well. So anyway, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and just zip it up, and I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning this whole area out here. And I'm going to start by going ahead and taking the mulch out, like I said, making sure that I get this soil all taken care of and nice and fertile. And then I'll go in with the drip irrigation, kind of connecting things and double it up in this area. And then when I'm all done, we'll come back and we'll take a look at it. Okay, I'm going to crouch down here. I hate cutting my head off. When I look back at videos and my head's cut off, it's annoying. So I'm going to try to keep my head in here while I'm talking to you. Anyway, for this, I wanted to explain to you guys really quick. These pots, when I put these pots in, I could kick myself right in the rear end because I had the perfect opportunity to run drip irrigation right up and through the center hole of the pot before I even put the dirt in. And after I got it all planted up, I said to Robin, oh my God, I forgot to put the drip irrigation in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something that I don't like to do, but I know that it's going to benefit me in the long run, especially as we're going into the spring and summer months, because I'm never going to be able to keep these pots adequately watered. There's just no way. I will have to be out here twice a day, and honestly, y'all, I don't have time for that. I want to make it as efficient as possible. So what I'm going to be doing first and foremost is I'm going to be going ahead and taking this drip tube that I've got right here in my hand, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to splice it out, and I'm going to, on the outside of this container, I'm going to run one drip emitter. Actually, this is not a drip emitter. This is one, actually this is a little, one of them little spiky stakes, and the top of this actually turns and water comes out, you know, a lot or a little. It's one of those, I don't even know what you want to call it, but it's a little spiky thing that looks just like this. Anyway, I can go ahead and I can elongate this tube right here. I can elongate this tube right here. This is a little 1/4 inch. There's no holes in it. All this does is this hose right here is tapped into this this hose. I believe this is a 1/2 inch of the brown tubing, and I just tapped into it with this solid brown 1/4 inch tube, and I'm going to run it up the back side as secretive as possible. I don't want it to be standing out. So again, I'm going to go up the back and I'm going to just kind of bring it in and put it in the center of the pot, adjust it to where when all of this area gets irrigated in here, then these pots, but there's 2 pots obviously, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. When I do that, these pots will be irrigated as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start there first, and we'll go from there. And I apologize if my head is cut off. Like I said, it's really hard to get that camera, that right angle to get me and to get really close. And I think honestly, the important thing is for you guys to see what it is that I'm doing. So, okay, now we can go ahead and get started. Okay, they're all planted, and I could not be any more in love. You know, just sometimes in the garden when I'm doing things, it's like there are just those specific things that I do that it's like, yeah, it looks great. And I am thrilled with this area. I am so glad that I pulled those 4 crotons out. I was very hesitant in the very beginning when I was starting to do it, and I was like in between. It's like, do I do it? Do I not? I just wasn't really sure, but I have no regrets for pulling those out because I think it looks so nice now with these Sunpatiens planted in mass the way they are, and they just follow the winding, I shouldn't say winding, the very curved walkway that we have here that goes over into our driveway, and it looks absolutely beautiful. Again, I am very in love. The other thing, and I hope you guys were able to see just what I'm dealing with here with that sandy soil. I was trying to capture as much of the sandy, you know, showing you guys just the soil that we deal with here in South Florida. I mean, it is just awful. And so I really amended this soil over here, like really, really well. I put cow manure in there and churned it all up. I put, you know, some of my ground, you know, shredded oak leaves are in there, and just kind of ground it all up. And then I even went and I got some garden soil, and I was able to go ahead and backfill a lot of the holes with the garden soil, just to kind of add, you know, a little bit of, you know, good soil that, you know, in there. So anyway, with all that and being able to add another drip line, I think, fingers crossed, I think that we're going to be in good shape here. My only regret that I have is that I did not have enough Sunpatiens, and it really wasn't that I didn't have enough. I purposely didn't buy because I wasn't sure if I was going to go all the way back behind the bird bath and down in front of the arboricola, which is in the straight flower bed that is up against the house. But now that I am seeing all this, I am so in love, and I am going to go, and I'm going to go back to that nursery. I'm going to get probably another dozen or so more of the Sunpatiens, and I'm going to continue in this whole entire flower bed, because theoretically these Sunpatiens, where they're located, they should go through, you know, a good part of the summer for us, or I should say most of the summer, again, with the proper irrigation. And again, like I said in the beginning of this video, Sunpatiens are kind of, you know, it's not that I haven't really had good luck with them. It's just, they just don't usually perform as well for me as what my impatiens have performed. And so I'm going to definitely learn the trick, or the key to the mint, I should say, on growing these Sunpatiens as magnificently as I've grown the traditional impatiens, or I'm darn sure going to try. But anyway, I'm trying to think if there's anything else, you guys, before we wrap this video up. And oh, I was able to get the drip irrigation. That was the other thing, the drip irrigation to those clay pots that dumb me forgot to do when I was planting them. Ideally, it is great if you are planting up pots like this and they're near irrigation, to be able to go ahead and take that right up through the planting or the drainage hole before you plant, because ideally, you know, they'll be on drip and you won't have to worry about, you know, watering them. But unfortunately, like I said, I didn't think about it until after the fact. And Robin said, you know, well, you know, we can, you know, tilt them sideways, you know, we can, you know, kind of, you know, maneuver. I was like, no, they're in. All the plants are in. They look absolutely spectacular. I appreciate him wanting to help, but I'm like, if we dismantle those, will disrupt the roots, because they've been in for several weeks now. We'll disrupt the roots, and I don't want to lose any of them. So right now we've got a little drip irrigation on the outsides of the pots, but you know what? That's okay for right now. I know they're going to be getting the water that they need, and if they look a little bit funny, you know, for right now, hopefully as these fill in, your eye's going to go to them and it won't go to that drip on the outside of the pot. So anyway, you guys, thank you guys so much for joining me in this video. And if you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do, because I'm going to be releasing a lot of content and you don't want to miss any of it. So we'll plan on seeing you in the next video. Bye.